Well, thank you so much for Sages and Varia and Dolphins, I guess, for this opportunity to present and tell you about what we've been developing, the SAVER. So my name is Kristen Quinn. I'm a PGY3 general surgery resident at the Medical University of South Carolina, and I'm also the CEO and co-founder of Heartbeat Technologies. So when a patient has a cardiac arrest event, they fall unconscious, they fall to the ground, there's no pulse. Chest compressions are begun, but chest compressions circulate only a small volume of blood to the heart and brain. Cardiac arrest affects over 500,000 Americans every year, and the outcomes are dismal.
Green.
So is my clicker abilities. Oh, that was the link. 90% of these patients don't survive, and even those that do survive often have devastating neurologic injuries. Every second that goes by increases this person's chance of permanent injury, disability, and death. We really believe this is a public health crisis, and so we wanted to design a product to help combat this. So we came up with the SAVER. The SAVER prioritizes the vital organs. It blocks blood flow to the legs and concentrates it in the head and upper trunk. And further, it provides CPR quality feedback to the rescuer. Too often, I see even experienced health professionals not pressing deep enough to adequately circulate the blood. The SAVER is designed for these emergency situations. You slide the straps under the patient's legs, thread it through a buckle, pull tight, and then to activate the SAVER, we'll inflate the bulbs and immediately occlude blood flow in the femoral vessels. And the SAVER works. We've done a porcine pilot study and have shown a significantly increase in their systolic blood pressure. So the SAVER increases CPR performance and confidence for hospital professionals, laypersons alike. It increases blood pressure, provides real-time feedback, and it does not compete with our current standard of care. It works in conjunction with ongoing chest compressions. The SAVER is patented technology filed by our Medical University of South Carolina, for which we have an exclusive license to continue to develop. In consultation with our FDA regulatory consultant, it's a Class 1 510(k) exempt device, and we anticipate filing in a couple months. The SAVER is unique in that it's the first product designed for this indication. It would be the first to the CPR market. It provides vessel occlusion, rapid deployment, it's small and portable. It has this pressure sensor feature which allows you to give the user quality feedback and make sure that they're providing quality compressions. And it's easy to use for all comers. Anyone at any place, anywhere can have a cardiac arrest event, so it's a huge market. All the facilities, including the one we're in, should have a SAVER. It's about a $103 billion market, and our serviceable obtainable, focusing on kind of the world we know, academic medical centers and emergency personnel, is estimated about $182 million. So our path to market centers at first at the academic medical centers, where the SAVER will be part of clinical trials. From there, firefighters and ambulances will take it out to the community for field cardiac arrest events. Then we see it being sold in community hospitals, urgent cares, drugstores, nursing homes, and rehab centers. And ultimately, there should be a SAVER anywhere you find an AED: schools, businesses, airports, convention centers. So founded just about 14 months ago, we've been building a lot of traction. We've participated in 2 accelerator programs. We've raised over $125,000 in non-dilutive grant funding with our research efforts. We're currently undergoing rapid prototyping, our large mammal trial, kind of a phase 2 to our pilot, and a clinical trial for which we have been granted IRB approval. Next steps include filing our FDA regulatory registration. As I stated earlier, we're a Class 1 510(k) exempt device. And then in the fall, we anticipate beginning our clinical patient trial at MUSC and any partner universities. With that clinical data demonstrating efficacy, we anticipate MUSC and Charleston EMS, who have really been involved in the SAVER since its inception and whose feedback has helped develop and direct our development, they'll be our first customers. And then finally, we hope to partner with an AED manufacturer and distributor to scale our production for the whole US. Partnering with an AED manufacturer such as Philips or Zoll will allow us to scale and supply this giant market. And working with the American Heart Association will provide the clinical data needed to make the SAVER become standard of care. That means that every cardiac arrest everywhere should be using a SAVER. It'll be part of your annual ATLS training. So the SAVER is a one-use disposable device. It's going to cost about $700 per unit, and we anticipate selling about $300K in year 5. And that would give us over $4.5 million in profit. These are our financial projections with an 86% profit margin. So Heartbeat is a driven and diverse team. Between us, we have years of clinical research and design experience. But behind us, we have a huge team of advisors and partners and future purchasers, including our Senior Director of Quality and Risk Management at our university and the Charleston Deputy EMS Chief. So together, let's improve CPR and save lives. I'm happy to answer any questions.
That's excellent, Kristen. Thank you very much. Let's open it up to our panel of judges.
Congratulations on a really interesting device and a great presentation. I'm really impressed for a surgery resident, so great job. How'd you come up with your price point for the device?
Yeah, it's priced what we think the market will tolerate. I think there's space to come down if that becomes prohibitive in sales, but right now, cardiac arrest events, I know earlier there was a question about reimbursement. That's when your patient's actively dying. It's among the highest reimbursement rates that we see, and same with talking with our EMS consultants. It's the most money they get back when a patient's in cardiac arrest, so we think that the $700 is appropriate.
What's your competition?
So there's nothing else being advertised for cardiac arrest events. There are other pneumatic tourniquets that I think are on the market, but they have not been adopted because of their lack of usability. We've really developed our product with human-centered designed principles. We've done a lot of customer discovery interviews. We've put our prototypes in the hands of future users and gotten their feedback to make a lot of iterations and design improvements to ensure that this technology will be adopted when it rolls out.
On that point, have you done any comparative studies just putting it on, like, professional users versus novice professional users versus just people that they grab it out of the box and say figure it out? So have you looked at that? Because you say it's rapid, you can get it on quickly, but obviously that's a very important argument. So can you back that up?
Yes, that is specific aim 2 of my STTR application. We just submitted a NHLBI grant, and that's exactly what we're hoping to study. As we continue the rapid iterations of our prototype, we want to time people, how fast can they put it on, how intuitive is it for them to use without any instruction, what instructions would provide that easy usability, and the packaging of the device, as it's a single-use disposable, will have the instructions. So it's a tear apart, take it out, and be able to apply it rapidly.
To Aurora's point about cost, are you comparing, like when you're looking at your market projections and your cost, are you comparing to how many AEDs are sold? Obviously, that's a potential exit point for y'all. How does this compare with AEDs? I mean, is it a one-to-one kind of similarity, or what do you think about that and the cost between the two? And
great question, and I think what gives the SAVER the competitive advantage and why some of these AED manufacturers are going to be interested in it is because they can sell a lot more SAVERs than they can AEDs. AEDs last 10 to 15 years, and so it really presents them an opportunity to engage with that customer base more often and have a recurring revenue with our product. We based our market projections based on talking to our emergency medical physicians, our cardiac anesthesia, and gauging how many cardiac arrest events we have in our hospital, and then scaling that to be applicable to other academic hospitals and urban city centers, and then decreasing those numbers to represent community centers and same-day surgical centers, et cetera. And our first market stream is really focused on those facilities, and then as we get to year 5, we start penetrating into the more community hospitals, rehab centers, nursing homes, urgent cares.
And I may have missed this, but you said the AHA is a likely partner. Do you have comments from the leadership of the AHA about this?
We've met with one of their investment portfolio personnel, and we're in discussions. And we've also met with American Red Cross.
But they haven't come out and said anything formally?
Correct, yeah.
Gotcha.
Early discussions.
Thank you.
So speaking of training, how long does it take to train someone to do this? And how long does it take to place it?
Great questions. I would like to have the specific data, but the goal of this product is that it doesn't take any training. A layperson can pick it up from an AED kit that they find, in the airport and be able to apply it to a patient. So having all the training materials required on the packaging and then it being intuitive enough to use that they would be able to apply it to a person rapidly.
I'm not so sure it will work that way for someone who's going to get freaked out with someone who's dying right in front of you from a cardiac arrest to be able to just take a package out and look at it. I would worry about that. For everybody.
Yeah.
Someone who's specifically trained in it, I think that would be fabulous.
I totally understand that concern. I think, we used to be providing mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, and so I felt that's pretty invasive, so I think people can handle putting a tourniquet on the legs. Yeah.
Kristen, following up on that great presentation, could you speak to the results of your mammal studies?
Yeah.
Specifically, how many you did, what worked, what didn't work?
Yeah, we were incredibly encouraged. It's pretty intuitive. It seems obvious that you would increase pressure, but we didn't know exactly what to expect. But we actually exceeded what we had seen in the literature, which was generally about a 10% increase in pressure. We saw a 12.5% increase in pressure in 3 pigs. The next phase of our study is simulating cardiac arrest in the pigs. We'll do 21 pigs like that and actually quantifying cerebral and cardiac perfusion with these fluorescent tag microspheres.
Do you envision having different sizes in this device? Because patients are in a variety of different sizes as well.
Yes, and that's something that's been really important to the design. We'd ideally like to have one that fits most initially, and then in the future be able to have 2 sizes that can cover the majority. Luckily, cardiac arrest is less common in the pediatric population, so we don't have to worry about making the super tiny sizes.
Did we have a question from the audience?
Yeah.
We've got a microphone right here, please. No, but we have people who may be watching, yeah. Don't be shy.
I could vouch
Do you
for
have
that.
a video? Because it's kind of hard to conceptualize, and the first person had a video. Can you share a video with us?
I don't, I have it, but I don't have it with me right now. It will be on our website, if I can direct you to that.
Well, then we don't know how to vote with the video.
We just had a film crew come in Friday and film us in our studio space for using it on our Phantom one that we've created.
They put it to the short guy.
Go ahead, David.
So if you're going to have a claim to improve CPR, how do you know that's still going to be a Class 1 device without any data showing that you are improving CPR?
No, that's a great point. Our claim to be a FDA Class 1 would be increasing blood pressure is really what we'd be focusing on with the future derivative that should increase CPR outcomes.
And do you think that the swine model is going to be able to you think they're going to buy that?
I think so. So a lot of the cardiac arrest literature, obviously these people, it's an emergency situation, they're actively dying, it's a hard place to do research. So we've seen that the porcine model has been pretty widely accepted for cardiac arrest research.
And have you gone to the FDA with a pre-sub yet and asked them those questions?
We haven't done a pre-submission meeting with the FDA, but we do have a seasoned FDA consultant who's on board with us and working with us, and she believes it to be Class 1 510K exempt.
Hi, my name is Corina de Reuter. I work at Intuitive, but I really like your part. But can you tell me what's the difference between your device versus putting 2 blood pressure devices on your leg?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it all comes down to usability. So some of the testing that we'll be doing with, seeing how long it takes people to put on and how rapid you can get it to deploy. So we're going to be using compressed air CO2 cartridges to get that extremely rapid inflation of the pneumatic bulbs versus a normal tourniquet is not going to provide that.
Thanks. And the second question, it reminds me also when I was in vascular surgery where we did a lot of fenestrated EVARs and we would block the legs.
Yeah.
The main thing we said, you can maximum block your legs for 6 hours. So can you use some of that research in that area to prove your device?
Absolutely. I think we're going after, this is kind of our beachhead market because there's such a need and the patient outcomes are so poor, but I see a lot of future implications for this to be used post, access cases or vascular surgery where instead of a resident holding pressure, you could use the SAVER. And cases where you may have a hemodynamically unstable patient, before anesthesia can catch up, you could deploy the SAVER and get that immediate increase in pressure that you may be looking for.
Yeah, hi there, my name is Eric Selvig. I just, it's a great presentation. I think the device is very elegant, and I think it's going to save lives. My question is more on your market projections and your total available market. I think you had a $100 billion market.
Yes.
Can you talk about how you came up? Because that's a really big market. And
Sure. It's a big market, but I actually even think
that's about 10 times the size of what they're saying the entire robotic surgical market is going to be worth in 2030.
That's a lot of people.
it's definitely an ambitious market, but it represents our entire population, and that's even just for the U.S. If you go globally, cardiac arrest outcomes, cardiac arrest is fatal 99% of the time. So there's opportunities to even expand that market. And I excluded military use from that market projection as well. So I actually think it's a conservative estimate.
So did you, so I think you said it was 500,000
Over half a
events?
million, yeah, I think it's like 560,000
Okay,
a year.
a year.
That are seen and recorded. And then the also idea is that even if there's just one a year, you're going to want to have a SAVER in stock and a backup in stock. So we can sell pretty much 2 per every facility, and then our facility that sees 1 cardiac arrest event a day in the ER, they're going to need at least 400, 600 every year.
Yeah, 500,000 a year times 1,000 comes up to 500 million. That's much less than 100.
I guess the idea is that it's not just for when that event happens, it's if it could happen. So it's not just, it has to be there when it's going to be needed. So increase
stock it.
Yeah.
So I'm just, well, we got time for, we got another question coming. Just while you're coming to the microphone, I just want to ask you about the disposable nature of the device. So if you've answered this, I apologize, but why does it need to be disposable? And what are you going to do when some countries decide to start reprocessing the device and reusing it, and what impact is that going to have on your market?
Yeah, that's a great question, and something that we've spent a lot of time thinking about and researching. We definitely see future iterations for, maybe other countries. There could be a reusable model, and even in talks with Zoll, their kind of company mission tends to be more of those recyclable products or recyclable components. So it's something we're definitely open to. The reason we've chosen to be a single-use disposable at this time is just because most things in the cardiac arrest market are, in our discussions with EMS, they want a peel pack, rip it open, use it. I don't have to program it or make sure it's in working order every time. It's on the shelf and it's ready to go. And there's no, in the community, there's no sterilization core that you can send it to. So just to ensure that it's in high quality working order in these emergency situations where you don't have time to go through a checklist validation that everything's set, that's why we are planning to do one use.
One more brief question.
A quick question. So, Rock Orlando from Hartford. So the AHA is an exceedingly conservative organization and will not change the standards of CPR without large clinical trials and data. And so I question your timeline in terms of achieving that, and wondered where you are in terms of trying to accrue the large numbers of patients that it would require to convince the American Red Cross and the AHA.
Sure. So we've spoken with several other universities that are interested. Everyone is waiting for us to have that human-ready prototype, which the 30,000 would significantly contribute to. And from there, I think we could get a lot, because these events are happening every day, the numbers required in the clinical trial, I think, would be easily met within a year.
Kristen, thank you very much for that excellent presentation.